we are your first fully digital network. Available in your favorite platforms, our shows can reach you wherever you are, whenever you want. Plus Network meets you where you are. Our desire is to share with you stories that are both educating and entertaining. We are committed to uplifting you in every facet of your life. Why? Dahil we believe in you. Our stories will move and inspire you to do more and be more. From financial lessons to inspirational life testimonies, we will make sure your 2021 will be a year you regain control of your life. Join us as we share with you stories that will hack healthy lifestyles, quick and easy recipes, money matters, parenting secrets, and many, many more. Kami dito sa Plus Network, we are behind you. So sa 2021, hindi na mahirap ang mangarap. Follow, subscribe, and like us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And together, we can all be more and be plus. We are where you are.
Bella here, and welcome back everybody to the show where we talk all things adult things. So I'm so happy. Grabe, Friday na ulit. Can you believe that? Like, parang kahapon lang yung Friday na napag-usapan natin yung emotions, diba? And processing emotions. And also a lot of other things with BJI. I'm so happy to be back, everybody. Kamusta kayong lahat? Nakita ko yung mga regulars natin sa Adult Things. Si Vincent nandito. Si Rans. Hello! Parang first time kong makita yung pangalan mo dito, Rans. Shekinah is here. Riz, Maya, Ali is here. Kate was here, is here. Ano pa ba? Yon! So, Marielle is here also. Hello guys! Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm very excited for today's topic kasi medyo it's gonna be fun. We have a really fun guest. Pero medyo intense rin yung conversation natin kasi hindi natin masyado na papag-usapan to sa Filipino culture. So hopefully, makakatulong ito sa adulting life mo and young adulting life mo. So obviously for our episode today, we are going to be talking about honoring your parents as young adults. So when we, become fully grown individuals, does obeying or does honoring your parents stop? Does it change? Does it escalate? I don't know. Papag-usapan natin yon in a bit. So actually, while waiting, maybe you can answer that question. Do you think as an adult, obeying or honoring your parents stops? So let me know down below in the comment. Anyway, we are going to move on to our very first segment for today, which is the Adult Think segment. O siya, may pa tayo? May pa OBB ba tayo ng mga segments? Okay, so for this week, medyo iba po ang Adult Think segment natin. So ito, this is where we talk about news or an issue that we think about as young adults. So here, we're going to answer the question, ano po ang say mo? So this is from Senator Lito Lapid, which is, take care of the old take care of the old, sick parents or else. Parang nakakatakot yung or else ha. So this bill talks about a jail term for those who miss or who neglect their old, sick, or incapacitated parents. So this was the warning of the Supreme of Senator Manuel Lito Lapid after filing Senate Bill 2061 that seeks to criminalize the act of deprivation of support to incapacitated parents. How interesting is that? So, and children shall be punished by imprisonment of arresto menor as a minimum and arresto mayor as the maximum. So arresto mayor means the jail term of 1 month to 1 day, 6 months, 1 day and 6 months, while arresto menor means menor ba or mayor? I think it's menor, no? Means a jail term of 1 day to 30 days. How intense is this? What do you guys think about that? I want to ask real quick. Criminalizing and even giving jail time to children who don't get to take care of their parents when their parents are incapacitated. What an interesting kind of news that we have here. Okay, so let me know what you think. I see Lyra's comment here. Buong segment ata guilty ako about honoring your parents. Hopefully not naman. We're not here to guilt trip anyone. We're here to learn from Janina's mistakes and see what happens. Okay, so honestly, I just want to get into the discussion at this point. I'm very excited to hear what our guest has to say about this topic. So to join us tonight in discussing this topic, let me introduce you to our guest. So, as a young adult, he has become a youth role model and an ambassador for many, many agencies and organizations. And also last night, you might have seen him in the Miss Universe Philippines, singing a very, very special song that just came out today on Spotify. So, let us welcome host, movie, and theater actor, musician, Mr. Sam Concepcion.
Yes. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. How I was listening to your song a while ago. That was so cool that you got to you got to perform that and you got to record that for Miss Universe Philippines.
Yeah.
How was that
Uh,
experience?
it was great. It's amazing. Working with the guys, Kiko Salazar and Nico. Um, it was just great fun to be in the studio and creating a song specifically for the
Mm-hmm.
swimsuit competition of the finals of Miss Universe 2021. And it was great. It was all good fun. It's nice to be able to share a song that premieres in a big stage like that. Often
Yeah.
we make albums and we release singles. Um, just regularly we put it out
Mm-hmm.
on digital releases and all that. But yesterday we premiered it on the
Yeah.
stage. That was pretty cool. It was fun.
O nga parang I'm sure nakaka-miss yesterday. Yeah, nakaka-miss. Sana next time we can see live.
Yeah,
A
no,
live
it was
version.
be fun. Yeah.
Do you miss it? You probably miss it, no? Performing live
Super,
with
super. There's
people,
nothing
with
like
real
it
people.
with the real people. Kahit when we did Miss Universe, it was kind of awkward na nga eh. We had
Really?
a crowd there, but a number of people they were all socially distanced,
Mm.
and even then, it's not the same as having the same energy,
Mm-mm.
especially in a competition when everybody's really so into it and they have their own manok, and
Yes, that's true.
gets really intense. It wasn't like
Mm-mm.
that, but at least people got to watch online.
Mm-mm. Tapos you can't see pa the reactions for the people who are there kasi naka-face masks silang lahat.
Yeah, you know if they like your song or not. It's just
Yeah, you don't know if they're smiling or if they're like grimacing or something. Diba?
yeah,
They could be frowning. Oh my gosh, I super relate to that.
yeah.
But again, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We're gonna talk about honoring your parents. So
Hmm.
off the bat, how did you feel when you were tasked with this topic?
Um. Well, I had to think. How well did I actually honor my parents in
Mm,
in my
same
in
question.
those years? But yeah, I really like this topic, and I think it's really important that we talk about it and that we are reminded, especially um, when we think about our parents and how and our relationship with them and how that and how we grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of it. Your relationship with your family is super important.
Yes, exactly. And can I just ask, have you moved out of your parents' home?
Yes, yes, I have.
Mm.
I moved out when I was quite, I would say, quite late.
Mm.
Siguro before 25, a little
Okay.
before that age.
Okay, I have
I
type out. Whew.
yeah, yeah. There's plenty of time, but
Okay.
yeah, I did
Oh, how
that.
interesting. Okay, well, we'll talk more about that later. But of course, we want to define actually the word that we're using, which is the word honoring. So when we say honor your parents, I want to ask you, what does that word mean to you, honoring?
Yeah. So when I think about honoring
Mm-hmm.
your parents, I think about the kind of respect that you
Mm-hmm.
have, the kind of respect that you only have for your mom or your dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a deep kind of respect. You know, you value what they say. You value their guidance, their opinions, everything. You know, as a part of you, as a part of your own decision making, as a part of your own growth. You know that well, given that they have the best intentions, of course,
Mm-hmm.
for their children, and you honor that, you value that, you respect that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were speaking about something. Uh, you were speaking about the word obedience, right? I think that's part
Yeah,
of it too. You know, um,
obedience. Yeah.
yeah, obedience is a big part of that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to add on to that, for me, the idea of honoring is both giving respect in both action and attitude to the
Hmm.
parent, both the person and the position. Because yes, we want to respect our mom because, yeah, for example, for me, I want to respect Jen and Paolo because they're older than me, because they're wiser than me, and so I want to respect
Yes.
them as human beings. But also adding on to that, because they're my parents, because they're the authority placed by God in my life, then there's like a respect that comes with that position as well. So may verse tayo dito, which is Ephesians 6, verse 1 to 3. I'm sure you're very, very familiar with this one. But let me read it out real quick, which is honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may live a long life on earth. Isn't that such a nice verse? And so Sam, can you how what does this verse mean to you?
Yeah. Yeah, like it says in the verse.
Mm.
When I was a kid, I remember it as honor your father and your mother that your days may be long upon the land. Is that right? I
Yes.
don't know what version that was,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, it's the same. It's actually kind of the same.
Mm-mm.
And I guess it's just that it's a promise that as we honor our parents, we live a full, long, fruitful life,
Mm. Yeah.
because it doesn't just stop in within the relationship
Mm-hmm.
of you and your parents. Because when you learn how to do that, when you learn how to honor your parents, I think that uh, that will reverberate across all of your
Wow.
relationships, how you
That's
treat other
good.
people, and how you treat even yourself, your career.
Mm-hmm.
um, you become a person with integrity, and
Mm-mm.
and and, and
Yeah.
um, yeah,
That's
that's
really
what.
good. I've never looked at it that way before. It's the character building that goes into honoring your parents because it's not
Yeah,
always
because
easy.
it's not. It's usually not. It's usually always hard.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
because and when you learn to do that, you learn how to to treat and respect authority, or at least any kind of authority, whether it be.
That's
It
good.
starts with the family being the first, closest
Mm-hmm.
unit to you, and then you become respectful and responsible for your community, and then to your
Mm-hmm.
country, and as a citizen of the world. So you learn how to respect that. You learn
Yeah.
how to become a good, well-rounded person in
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good actually. I'm taking note of that. Kung ano, that makes sense. Yeah, and And so actually the in the comments, people are already commenting how to honor your parents. Shannon says by not talking back when they're scolding us. And that see that's one of the things. Yeah, that's hard. I have to say. Like
Hard
I
one.
love my parents, but that's a hard one, no? Ayan, obey and respect them, like what you mentioned a while ago. It's obedience. Riz says by obeying them, loving, respecting, and understanding their decisions and actions. Because as Sam also mentioned, they do have the best intentions for you. Honoring, respecting their decision. Honor your parents by living a meaningful life. That's another good perspective. Yeah, and so I want to get into the juicy question. Kasi na-mention mo kanina na you thought, did I honor my parents growing up? Or was I a good, am I a good person to talk about this? And so I want to like get right into it. Was there a time that you could remember that you failed to honor your parents? And how did that go?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was a
Okay.
very obedient kid, I would say.
Oh,
Growing
really?
up, I really was. I started in the business quite early, and so
Mm-mm.
my mom, my dad, they were always with me wherever I went.
Oh, that's
Going to
nice.
tapings. My mom, they were always very hands on
Yeah.
with my work, and they were very supportive of what I wanted to do and what I like to do, which is this career that I have and that I've been
Mm.
blessed with. And so they were very involved in my life, and I was very obedient, and I honored them in what I did. But syempre, there will come a time you get a little older when you start to try to test the boundaries, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna
Okay.
explore, like you're gonna make your own decisions, and I think
Mhm.
it's a part of growing up, and it's a part of learning who you are. You're gonna make these decisions, and you're gonna make some mistakes. So you have to
Mhm.
be very careful about what your decisions are. What your
Mhm.
limits are. But at the end of the day, I think it's important that we always kahit anong mangyari. Even when you have moved out, like I did, you will always go home, to your parents, so to speak. Maybe not
Mm.
literally, pero that you will always have to, uh, you will always want to honor them,
Mm.
to value them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did stories. I would never go home. That was one.
You
I
wouldn't
would,
go home. Okay.
yeah, go out, party. I would should probably be not out and go
Mm.
partying. Uh, Especially if I have work early the next day. But I would.
Mm.
I did all of that. So when
Yeah.
they specifically said not to, right? And
Yeah.
so I had that phase when uh, I nagano ako party mode,
Parang nagpa-flashbacks ka diyan, Sam. When I
Flashbacks. Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
those.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I remember I think this was a long time ago. This was when I was 12.
Mm,
When I was 12, I had a crush on this boy and I thought he was the one. I was like,
okay.
I'm gonna marry this boy. He's the best thing I have ever, in my life. And then he was going to hang out. I don't know if my mom's watching, and I don't know if she remembers this, but he was inviting me to go hang out with a bunch of friends. I didn't know if it was a BGC or wherever. And then they said no, and I was like, oh, they're so overprotective. I can't believe it. Like, this is the norm for people. They're all hanging out, and I'm like FOMO. And then I was so mad at them. Like, I fought with them, and I was crying and I was shouting. And then, even just like 2 years later, I was like, what were you thinking? It's like,
Yeah,
thank God my parents said no to that, because that whole situation was not it for a 13-year-old.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
When
they
you're,
really
when
wanted to
you're
do the best. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Excuse me. No, yeah, especially that when you live with your parents and you're young, you're a teenager. You really
Mm-mm.
you wouldn't know, you don't know any better, and it's
Yes.
probably best that you listen to your parents.
Yeah,
uh
absolutely.
yeah, because at that age you think it's like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
It's not.
I'm so FOMO, but hey,
Mm.
look, there's plenty of time for all that when you're older. And I think Yeah, obedience. Obey your parents until you're old enough to have like a conversation with them about conflicting ideas and conflicting decisions.
Mm. A
You know what I mean?
respectful
But until then,
conversation.
yeah. But until then, baka hindi ka pa mature enough to make your own
Mm-mm.
decisions. So, uh, listen to them. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you think, when you just thinking about it simply, they've been here on this earth so much longer than you have. So they should have a better grasp on how the world works. Because again, I thought he was the one, and they obviously looked at it, took one look at him, and they were like, no, absolutely not, Janina. Yeah, but I think tapping into that wisdom is so important. Because there's a reason why God put them in your life, diba? There's a reason why people are not just born alone, and you have to brave the world alone. But then the way, at least the way that God wanted it to be designed on earth, was that you have that level of authority, you have that wisdom in your house, no? Okay,
absolutely
so
agree.
yeah. Si Shannon said, sometimes kahit na alam natin may pagkakamali sila, we still need to honor them. Oh, just
Yeah,
like what Ate Janina said, they always have the best intentions. In the long run, we'll realize why they had to do it. Oh, that's another interesting question. It's,
that's
how do
really
you
good.
honor your parents pag nagkakamali sila? When they actually, when they do something that, you might not agree with.
Yeah. I think that's a super important one. I think that's
Yeah.
when the real challenge of honoring your parents really comes.
Mm-mm.
When uh, kung mali actually yung
Mm-mm.
decisions nila for whatever, for you or anything, especially when
Mm-mm.
you get to when you're an adult with uh and your relationship with your parents as an adult, um it becomes that becomes harder. But at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, it's honoring your parents is the most important thing, because you have to be able to your parents are your parents, no matter what, and you
Mm-hmm.
respect them for those decisions. Dun much a challenge
Yeah.
yung character natin, and it's
Mm-mm.
about, I think, forgiveness is the most,
Yeah, that's a good one.
probably a really hard thing to do. you know uh it takes practice, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. And how did you come to that realization, of forgiving your parents? Because parang it's not a, I don't know. I feel like that's not so much of a Filipino culture, that because I don't know. I've experienced like a lot of Filipino like stories of who don't apologize, and I feel like that unfortunately has become a Filipino culture na kami yung parents, we have nothing to apologize for. But how do you come to that point of, okay, you don't have to apologize, but I want to let go of this bitterness and I want to forgive you anyway for what happened. So how did you come to that realization of the importance of forgiveness in the context of parents?
Yeah, it's I think when it's the hardest thing, but I think it's the most vital thing to do,
Mm,
to forgive and let go, with anybody, your
yeah.
parents, a past relationship, or something that you've done to yourself, or like even, or something that you haven't forgiven yourself for doing.
Mm,
I think that becomes the most vital thing to do to move forward. And I think that's
mhm.
between, like you said, you don't have to hear an apology from anybody, but I think that becomes between, it becomes a thing between you and God. You pray about
Mhm.
that, and you lift it up to Him, and He takes that burden from
Yeah.
you. You know,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
that's the best thing to do. I feel, at
Mm-mm.
least for me, that you pray about it, you pray for it, and you surrender it all to God.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. Yeah, we're establishing that it doesn't always have to, it doesn't always have to be initiated by a person
Mm.
saying sorry,
Yes,
but
that's right.
forgiveness can actually be initiated by you.
Mm.
Yeah. So Sir Rafael Leosa says, we forgive not for the person we are to forgive, but we forgive to set ourselves free from that burden, be it our parents
I
or
love
other
that.
people. And this is just an umbrella principle that, as Sam
Mm,
said, not only for parents, but for anybody you may have beef with.
yeah, yeah. You don't want to be carrying that all the
Hmm.
time. All that
Especially in
burden.
your own home.
Yeah, it's not good for you. It's not good for the people around you.
Hmm.
Uh, so
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Berlin says na sukat yan na sa understanding. Pray if may problem, and God will solve problem with parent and son. Yeah, and so it's that relationship na it's between you and God. And that's the importance of prayer. To help you forgive. Ano pa ba? Ang galing. My recent devotional plan was about this. That's great.
nice.
Okay, so you mentioned that you moved out before you were 25. And
Yeah.
so how did that conversation come about? That hey, bye.
Yeah. Wait. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Let me try to recall how this
Mm-mm.
happened exactly. I think um, I remember them. I remember my parents being very supportive about it because it
Oh,
started
that's
as like,
great.
okay, let's. I want to invest my money, buy a
Mm-hmm.
place, invest in this, and so uh, invested in a place. Then eventually, parang okay, now that you have it, you should probably move in, right? And
Mm-mm.
it wasn't. I didn't have to uh, make paalam in that way,
That's
but
great. Yeah.
kind of just like slowly moved
Mm-mm.
into my own place, and there was no conflict about
Wow,
it
that's great.
that I could or couldn't do.
Mm-mm.
Pero hindi siya, I couldn't do it fully right away because I thought, okay, I'm gonna move out, I'm gonna live alone, and I have control over my life. And little did I know, there's so many other things that comes with it. Ito yung
Mm-hmm.
adult thing na
Yeah.
talaga,
Yes.
all the bills, uh, taking
Yes.
care of your own stuff, buying your own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
even something as simple as waking up at the right time for work and all of that. It's not easy. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't cold turkey leave my house.
Mm-mm.
I would go back and forth.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so it sounds like your independence, you were granted your independence gradually. Is that appropriate to say? That,
Yeah, yeah,
it, yeah. Okay.
yeah. It wasn't hindi siya biglaan.
Okay.
That okay, bye, bahala ka na dyan. I don't know, maybe in some cultures it's that way. You're 18, you're out of the
Yeah.
house,
Yeah, I know
right?
that's how it works in the
Go
States or
out of the way.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, since here, of course, in the Philippines, we're such, mostly families are so tight.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I do. Um so there's actually no. Psych. I want to ask another question. I was looking at a question of Shannon, but I'll get to that in a while. But I wanted to ask, as you grew older, how did that dynamic between your parents change on you making your own decisions? Because obviously, they don't make decisions for you anymore. I hope not.
Yeah.
But how did that, obviously it wasn't cold turkey and maybe it was gradual, but how did that shift throughout the years?
My parents were very gracious.
Mm-hmm.
That when I got to that age, and when I well, started living alone and all of that, they also honored my own decisions. Siguro
Mm-hmm.
whether or not they think it was right or I was doing the right thing or wrong thing, uh, they respected what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do things. And so I think that made me more, uh, it gave me, I felt more responsible for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really empowering. They were very supportive in that way, that they respected and they honored also my
Mm-hmm.
decisions and what I wanted to do. And so I didn't have a hard time uh, making my own decisions because I know na they support what
That's great.
I wanted to
Mm-mm.
do.
Yeah. Pero baka may advice ka siguro sa mga, people who are watching who maybe don't have parents as quote unquote gracious, to allow independence that way. How can we start that conversation with our parents and be like, is it okay if I make this decision? How does that start?
Um, well, if you have if you're very open,
Mm-hmm.
actually, even if you're not, just strike a conversation with them. Sit
Yeah.
down with your parents and tell them what you want, and you will know when you're ready,
Mm-hmm.
because you're ready when you actually can do that and say, "Look, mom, dad, this is what I want to do. I want to go to this school.
Mm-hmm.
I need to live near that school. I need to move out." I think that's when you know you're ready, and you have to take that step, especially if maybe what how old? Maybe going to college, maybe after college. Maybe it depends. It depends on the person. I would think it
Mm-mm.
doesn't matter what age, but we all grow in different uh, speeds.
Yeah.
In different years. So don't rush if you're not ready to do that yet. But make sure it's the decision that you want to make, that you want to move out and you want to to take care of your own life.
Yeah.
And
That's a good. Oh, sorry. Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
your parents will be supportive of that when they see that, because they will know when you are ready.
mm-mm. I think that's a good basis, or like at least one of the good bases is no na if you're mature enough, if you can, kind of withhold emotions a little bit and have an adult conversation with your parents, without bursting into raising your voice or crying and forcing what you want, but
Yeah.
actually explaining this is my plan. I would really appreciate it if I could have your blessing for this. This is, I hope to go this and this, and maybe even consulting them, and humility is another way, it's another show of maturity. There are a lot
Mhm.
of questions here about, or another insight, a lot of insights about communication, actually.
I love to see
um
that.
yeah, Jenny says communication is key para ma-aware din yung parents, na na-hurt tayo. I think it's about forgiveness as much as possible na hindi na maulit. So that's having conversations with how they have hurt you, which is a scary conversation to have.
Hmm.
Have you ever had one of those conversations?
What do you mean specifically?
Like, if for example, like my mom, if we have a miscom, or maybe she said something that I would like to address a little because it offended me a little. I would have to go to her like, mom, I know that you didn't mean this, but honestly this is what it made me feel like. So have you ever had one of those?
Um, Buti na lang, not in recent years. I wouldn't think.
Okay.
It's actually pretty hard for me to recall a time when um, it was serious enough that it demanded a conversation.
Mm-mm.
Uh, but yeah, I've definitely been scolded, pagalitan ako for something that I did,
Mm-mm.
and maybe it wasn't. I didn't think it was fair,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and yeah, you have to bring it up, kasi if
Mm-hmm.
you can't carry that naman, and
Yeah.
that builds a relationship with them too.
Yes, absolutely. Sabi rin ni Shannon, another problem with parents is that we don't have good communication, and so it always results in conflict.
Mhm.
So how can we resolve this po? This one I feel like is more geared towards the households who always are bursting into conflict when any kind of communication happens, and that becomes a cycle. I've seen so many times.
Mhm.
How do you end that cycle of really toxic conflict communication and start peaceful communication? Maybe you have an insight on that.
Yeah, I think that's it. You need to talk about it, but when emotions are running really high,
Mm-hmm.
I think we say a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things when we're in the
Yeah.
heat of anger, or we do and say things when we're not in the right uh, uh, what emotion, when our
Mm-hmm.
when our hearts aren't in the right place.
Yeah.
And so I think matetest yung self control mo, and you should be able to talk about it and have a good and real conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
But also make sure na hindi kayo nag-aaway, not
Yeah.
during the fight. You know,
Mm-hmm.
de-escalate, calm down, and respectfully talk to them about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something that I appreciate about my dad is that when I was the emotional one, not my dad. My
Okay.
dad was patient. It was me. I was the problem. But when my emotions would get escalated, he would be like, "Okay, do you want to take 10 minutes?" And I was like,
Mm, that's
"Whoa." It was good. I was like,
that's
okay,
good.
I will take the 10 minutes. So
Mm,
then I would go to my room and just like cry and just calm down, and then he would come and knock on my door and be like, okay, let's talk about it again. And I feel
okay.
like that could also work vice versa. Maybe if, emotions are high, you feel like you're going to say something you'll regret.
Mhm.
Maybe you can be like, Mom, can we talk about this in 5 minutes, or can we talk about this in 10
Mhm.
minutes? And then come back. And I feel like even that is another show of maturity, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? To be honest, like a lot of you have to continuously. We all have to continuously work on that. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to control ourselves when we're mad, when we're angry, when we're in that moment, uh, and it's gonna keep happening. And you know, even as adults, we make those mistakes, and
Mm-hmm.
so we have to really watch ourselves often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and so I want to go back now to maybe a few years before you moved out, because I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of where a lot of our viewers are at. Um, what things when you were working on the independence? What were the things that you asked permission for still, and what were the things that you were like, okay, I can make my own decision on this, or did you consult them or ask for advice from them, or was it just cold turkey? This is me now.
No, no. You know, I think looking back, I think they gradually gave me freedom to choose for
Mm-hmm.
myself by little.
Yeah.
As small as, okay, now here's uh, go get your own, set up your own bank account, you know,
Mhm.
set up the money, learn how to use it, learn how to started small things,
Finances, yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
finances, and then um, with time maybe, or at least the kind of work, because before I would often get the jobs as they come. I wouldn't
Mhm.
have an idea what my schedule is
Yeah,
for the week.
yeah. Mhm.
And they would say, oh, you're doing this, you're doing this and that, right? You have the guesting here, you're recording here, you have a show
Mhm.
here. um, then eventually you get the decision to choose and pick what path, what you want, where you want to take your career,
Mhm.
uh, what kind of jobs you want to take. And so it was gradual, I think, is what I'm saying. It's a gradual. Okay, here we'll let you decide and you learn and see for yourself.
Mhm.
I think it really helped me out a lot because you know it's not like okay bahala ka na sa buhay mo.
Yeah,
It was in a controlled environment na okay make mistakes but we're still here to
that's
give
great.
you yeah to see where the boundaries are still for you and help me mold my
Mhm.
own decision making. So
Yeah.
that helped me
That
out a lot.
yeah. That reminds me of one of the first insights that you mentioned a while ago, was that the character development that happens in honoring your parents, and even
Mhm.
that I feel like is something that you can add to that conversation if you wanna have a conversation on your independence. It's okay. Is it okay if I handle my finances from now on because I really want to work on responsibility for me? Is it
Yeah,
okay if I will decide when I want to go out, because I feel like this will really harness my wisdom, mga ganon. So explaining that to your parents, I feel like would be good, and also understanding that
absolutely.
yeah, being completely dependent on your parents till you're old is not
Mhm.
the most ideal thing. And this is like sometimes my bone to pick with really strict parenting,
Mhm.
because what happens is when parents are way too strict and they always make the decision for their children, is that the kids are never able to learn how to make decisions for themselves. um
Yeah,
or the right decisions rather. So when they get out, and I've seen this so many times, that when they get out of, when they get to college, wala, walwal, they just go crazy. They make bad
Yeah,
decisions. They
yeah,
make huge mistakes because they were never slowly, gradually given that opportunity to make those tiny mistakes in the comfort of their own home, or
right.
within the boundaries, and with the protection of the parents, right? But yeah, I think that's the gradual. I'm so kudos to your parents, amazing people. I love them already.
I super agree with you. You know that
Hmm.
actually happens quite often. No, when
Yeah.
uh, parang biglang napakawalan and
Hmm.
you know they make uh,
Napakawalan.
oh napakawalan and they all just make we make bad decisions. And
Hmm.
so I hope that how has it been for you?
Oh well, it was
Was it like
weird because
slow?
yeah, well, I think as a girl, I have a little bit like a different set of rules. Well, then with my brother, because Ryan, he's 18 and he's allowed to go like drive places alone. But when I was 18, I wasn't really super allowed to do those things, and I understand. But when we hit the pandemic, I was 20, and then I turned 22 in the pandemic as well, and so it didn't
Okay.
click in my brain that I was like over 21, like I was a full grown human. And
Yeah.
so one time I asked my dad, I was like, "Hey dad, is it okay if I go to this place? But only if you want, like, if only if you allow me. It's like okay, naman if you don't." And he's like, "Yeah, you don't have to ask for permission anymore. You can just tell me where you're going." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, wait, why? What's happening? And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm 22. I'm like a full grown human.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it was kind of abrupt. Um, but also not really, because they allowed me to make decisions growing up, and that's really the kind of parent I want to be as well, because I feel like it's a disservice to both the parent and the child when the parent is always making the decision. Like nakakapagod rin yun, no?
Yeah.
Yung burden
Oh
na
man.
19 years old na, tapos grabe yung mga
And if
rules.
you don't learn how to make your own decisions, you're gonna be in trouble as an adult.
Exactly,
If you
exactly.
don't learn that early on, in
Mm-hmm.
your young adult years, oh man, because it's gonna come for you. 30, 40, 50, it's coming for you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to learn how to make those decisions. You know,
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. Otherwise talaga, oh, that's hard. Ay, nako. Okay, well, before we end this segment and move on to our next segment, maybe you have I guess last minute advice to anybody who wants to start honoring their parents, but it's like their first time.
Mhm. Um, it's your first time to honor your parents.
Like it's
That's
your
the
first time to
time.
be proactive in deciding.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna like I don't want to fight with them anymore. I don't want to do this or that. Yeah.
Well, honoring your parents, like what we said at the beginning of this, is valuing and respecting
Mm-hmm.
your parents' guidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to start there, um, we have to learn how to listen
Mm-hmm.
very carefully.
That's good.
What they do. And
Mm-hmm.
really show your parents that you know how to listen. Um, and respond. Listen to what they have to say and respond the way you want to,
Mm-hmm.
in a respectful way. If you're young and you still, of course, live with your parents, you have to obey them, respect and obey them. And if there's something that's in your heart that you want to share or that you want to say to your parents, do it in a respectful manner, and
Mhm.
talk to them. Your parents are there to listen to you, and your parents are
Mhm.
there to guide you, and they want what's best for you, and you want to build that with them. So uh, make it. It will strengthen you. It will strengthen your relationship with your parents, and it's very meaningful, and you want to do that.
Mhm.
So start small
Yeah.
steps. You don't have to uh, jump into big decision making, like siguro small things like
Mhm.
your time at home, your chores, uh, and small things like that.
Yeah.
Take these steps.
Yeah, I agree. And if your parents naman see that you're taking initiative of your life, it will be a
Mhm.
lot easier for them also to trust you with bigger decisions, right?
Right.
Kasi if you can't even do the chores you're tasked to do, how on earth would they trust you to move out? They
Yeah.
won't.
You have to show them that you can make your own decisions too.
Because you have to be accountable. You're accountable to yourself, yes, and also to them because you're still living under their house, under their roof. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. So we're gonna change gears a little bit and go
Yeah.
into our next segment, which is called Dear Janina.
Ooh. They write you letters.
hmm
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So this is they write letters, and we've received so many
Cool.
letters. So many letters, but I really want to get your advice on this one, Sam.
Ooh, I will try.
So this one is from Ken, and it says, Dear Janina and Sam, meron akong crush na girl and gusto ko siya talagang ligawan. I've been praying to God for months, asking talaga for his wisdom if I should go for it, if I shouldn't. And in those instances, nakakatanggap talaga ako ng Bible verse and other prayers and signs that I should. Kaso, kahit lahat ng signs nandun at kahit na yung mga friends ko nagsasabi na rin na may chance ako sa kanya, hindi ko pa rin sure sa kanya. Kasi sa kanya mismo wala pang sign. Alam ko hindi pa siya ready sa relationship at di rin ako nagmamadali. Gusto ko lang sana maging close friends kami para we get to know each other. Then pag ready na, that's when I take my shot at ligawan ko na siya ng
May plano
totoo.
na siya eh.
Oo nga eh. Pero ano pwede kong kayang gawin para maging close kami ngayong panahon ng pandemya at pareho kaming stuck at home lang. Di kami makakapagkita. Can I do this right? Um, can I do this right nang hindi siya ma-creep out? It's
Hmm.
such a cute question. I love it.
Yes. Oh.
So may signs na siya, pero hindi pa
Hmm.
ready yung girl. Hindi naman nagmamadali si Ken.
Hmm.
But he wants to be close to her. How do you get close to somebody in the middle of a pandemic?
You know what? That beats me. Because first of all, I am going through this pandemic for the first time as well.
That's true.
And I don't know how
Yeah.
to do that.
Mm-mm.
It's really hard to stay connected with anybody. So it's
Mm-mm.
probably really hard to do that, to
Mm-hmm.
make that connection. Diba? But parang he answered his own question na rin eh, diba? Na gusto
Yeah,
niyang
tapos
ligaw.
yun nga, may plano na
Pa
siya
siya
eh.
hindi naman siya nagmamadali. So I think
Mm.
you can take your time. You can take your time here. The pandemic
Mm-hmm.
isn't gonna be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Fingers crossed.
Mag-mute ka muna dyan sa mga Zoom calls nyo, in class.
Mm-mm.
Message ka muna dyan on the side. Hey, how are you? Help me with your homework. You need help with your homework?
Oh my gosh, I know that galaw. Or like, oh, do you remember the deadline for this assignment? Oh, sorry, I forgot it. Tapos wala, nag-uusap na kayo. Yeah, but I think,
Kasi
mhm.
when I don't know, is he in high school or grade school? When I was in grade school, kami kasi telebabad eh. Like landline phones is what we
Oh,
had.
wow.
Yeah, so you get landline, you get the landline number of your crush, right?
Mhm.
And then after school, you go home and you call them. Tapos magte-telebabad ka na, kunyari you guys are doing homework. You just want to
Mm.
talk. But I don't know if do you guys do that? Just like stay on the phone and do homework.
Siguro may video call ngayon.
Video
I
call.
co-work with my friends. Yeah. So parang, yun nga. Yeah, actually same, basically. Pero may video na kami. Hindi lang siya line. We have a face naman. But I want to ask, as maybe a guy's perspective, no? What can he do while waiting for the girl to be ready?
Ooh,
Is there
what
anything
can
he
you
can't do?
do? While waiting, alam
Mm-hmm.
mo, be very patient. That's all you can do, right? You don't want to force anything.
Mm-hmm.
If she's not ready, you can't force her.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing that you can do. There is nothing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So just be patient. But really get to know her. I like what you said there in the letter. Nah,
Mm-hmm.
you want to get to know her first, and I think that's a good sign. So do get to know her.
Mm-hmm.
Be her friend. You know,
Yes.
so that you have good intentions, and that um, you're look you want you want to get to know her and you want a good relationship with
Mm-hmm.
her. So I agree with that. You know,
Yeah.
be a good friend to her.
Yeah, I like the idea of being a friend for the sake of being a friend, if that's even possible. But I think from a girl's perspective, it's, girls can tell if you're trying to be a friend for more than wanting to be a friend.
Mm.
And if she's not ready, that will push her away. That will be like, oh gosh, no. And so she'll try to step back. And so if it's possible for you to really just be a friend without asking or without expecting anything in return, or without thinking, oh, this is an investment so that she can be my girlfriend, but actually just being a
Yeah.
good friend to her, I feel like that would be real good.
Plus points.
Yeah,
If
plus points, right? That would be so good. Well, yeah, okay. I hope, Ken, that helped in some way. No, good luck. Good luck with that relationship with the pandemic. Update us. You never know. Baka adulting season, whatever, 5, we'll have Sam back on, and then we can do an updated Dear Janina. But thank you
you
so
got
much, Sam,
this.
for joining us tonight. Wow, I love this. Is exactly how I wanted this episode to go. I'm so so happy. You're so wise and you're so deep. I love it. Your
Not
answers, I
at
learned so
all.
much. No, no, I'm sure I'm not the only one who learned so much from you tonight. Baka may gusto kang i-plug
Likewise,
before
I
we let
did.
you go? Oh, thank you.
Likewise, I learned so much from you as well. You know, we're all learning and we're all going through life together. And so I
Mhm.
love conversations like this where we get to talk about, these things, these issues, we share ideas. And congratulations
Mhm.
on doing it. I hope you're having a lot of success in it, and I hope you're having a lot of fun doing it. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, plugs.
Diwata,
Yes.
a new song called
Mhm.
Diwata. We made it for Miss Universe 2021. Check it out
Mhm.
on all digital streaming platforms. There you go. And also, I
Yes.
did release another song last month called Nonstop, also
Ooh.
on all digital streaming platforms. Yeah, that's it for now. And I hope
Wonderful. Thank you again for joining us. Yes. Yes, hope to see
thank
you
you.
soon and see if you still have 2 legs.
I hope so.
Okay, that would be great. Well, thank you again for joining us. I hope to see you soon. Everybody says thank you for all of your insights. Bye, Sam. Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Have a good night.
Sam Concepcion, everybody. Wonderful. So let's give him some love in the comments. I'm sure we learned a lot. I certainly learned a lot today. But before we end, we'll do a quick segment of just saying, which is one of our new segments this season. Ito ang ano natin, ang quote for today, which is, love your parents because we are so busy growing up, we often forget that they are growing old. Mm. Yeah, we often forget that they're growing old, diba? Kasi minsan we're so excited to move out. We're so excited to mature, to, do real life, adult things life. We forget that, oh, our time with our parents is also limited, diba? Well, we also forget that I should, as I'm here in the house, as I'm still living with my parents, I should maximize my time with them. And not to get so morbid, right? But basically, because we're not always gonna be with them for the rest of our lives, no? So not forgetting that they're also growing old as we're growing up. And I hope that we don't forget them in the process of adulting, right? We don't forget them and maybe even incorporate that. I'm sure they would be so so happy to be incorporated in your adult things process, when you're in your adulting process and asking, advice and decisions. Until today, I'm 22, and I can give all of this advice. I was literally just telling my mom this in dinner. I was like, I can give so many people so much advice, and yet for me, I know nothing. Like, I know nothing to help myself, and that's the importance of asking my dad, asking my mom for advice, because they really have so much wisdom that they can share to you. Why did I end up in wisdom? Because yes, maximize our time with our parents. Anyway, so we are going to talk about our social media challenge from last week. We have one winner, and let me congratulate the most participative plus fam who shared with us their photo of an emotion. Last week I asked you to share with us a photo of any emotion and explain what it is. And this is our winner for today. Hindi ko po mabasa. Okay, social media challenge, adult things to emotions. At ang ating winner, I see. Dun, 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 dun. See, Net Mendoza. When this photo was taken pre-pandemic, this beautiful view made me so happy and free. Seeing such beauty after disaster is so wonderful. How I wish that soon we will all be able to do these nature trips freely without any fear of COVID-19 in the pandemic. I super agree. I really miss going out without the fear of COVID. But thank you for sharing that, Net. Congratulations. You win a prize from Plus Network. They will get in touch with you very, very soon. So lahat naman who are still here, we of course have another photo challenge for next week, or for this week rather. I challenge you naman to post a photo with your parents and tell us one thing you admire about them. So post any photo with your parents or a parent, and tell us what is one thing that you admire about them, so that we can start proactively honoring our parents, diba? Kahit in a small way on social media. And I feel like they would appreciate that a lot, a lot. So I will look for your entries. Don't forget to hashtag adult things too honoring, and of course my plus network, so that we can see all of your entries. And while you're at it, of course, you can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn at my plus network. And you can also follow me, Janina Vella, everywhere as well. I also just posted a video about martial law. And so if you want the data, if you want the facts and information, and also personal experiences from real martial law survivors, you can check that out on my channel. So continue also to send your letters to our Dear Janina segment, when I read and react to your stories, and give advice to them. So if you want your letter to be featured, you can totally send that to Plus Network social media account. So again, you can send it on, saan ba? Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. I don't think YouTube has DMs. But yeah, any social media account, just send your Dear Janina there, and hopefully we can get to it and talk about it up here. So yeah, I thank you everybody for joining this segment, or this show rather, tonight. Friday at 9 p.m. I will see you next week, Friday at 9 p.m. And I hope you have a good weekend. Let's all be a little kinder. Bye.